Now, Sports Talk with Brodes. Here's Hunter Brody.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome on into Sports Talk with Brodes. Let's start off here. Let's get this out of the way. Why am I wearing an OKC Thunder hat? Because it's a nice shade of blue, and I think it matches my shirt. I'm not wearing a Boston Celtics hat. I'm not wearing a Dallas Cowboys hat. I'm not wearing an Atlanta Braves hat. I'm not wearing a Pittsburgh Penguins hat. I don't know why, whenever I wear this in my videos, people get so upset. It's a hat that I like the fit, and it's a nice color blue. It's that simple. But I digress. We are here to talk about the Sixers and the Lakers because I haven't been able to get it out of my brain since I saw Tobias Harris finish that game off with a really nice bucket. And I think we should get into this by starting with Doc Rivers and what happened at the end. I know some might not like this, but it's a reality, so listen up. The 12 pick and roll with the secondary rifle action is something that has been ran under Brett Brown. The difference is execution, skill level on the floor, and spacing. This isn't some X and O play that is so outrageous, that is so clean, that is so masterful that Doc Rivers should be put on this high pedestal because Tobias Harris made that play happen. I think that there's some uniqueness involved. What I mean by that is you have options. If the first look isn't there, you kind of have the ability to go in another direction. But to make it seem like the 12 pick and roll with secondary rifle action is something that has not been utilized before, that's not true. You might think the difference here, but that's not true. This team doesn't have a quote-unquote closer. We would like it to be Joel Embiid, but I don't know if that is a sustainable thing every single night down the stretch. There's going to be times for that to happen, but there's going to be times where you're going to have to look for a Seth Curry. You're going to have to look for a Tobias Harris. And the way that Doc Rivers kind of broke this down post-game was Danny Green read it perfectly. Seth Curry, if he was able to get a good shot off, he was going to take it. But when they realized that wasn't happening with the pin down, they got it to Tobias Harris, and he had a one-on-one matchup that was a mismatch. You have Caruso, who is significantly smaller, on Tobias. Go make a play. It's one-on-one at that point. It's isolation basketball. Get a matchup that you like and go attack and make a play. It's not rocket science. Tobias Harris, though, has so much confidence right now that he was able to drill it at will. Nothing but net, and it wasn't even a question. I love this version of Tobias Harris, and it's almost as if that was a huge wake-up call for this fan base. We all recognize that he was playing better. All right, if that slipped under your radar, well, then you're just not recognizing what's happening out there on the floor. But this was a good smack in the face for some to make it even more aware. Like this was, hey, look at me, people. I am now becoming lethal, and I am on a tear. This just highlighted it to this big degree, put a bunch of spotlights on Tobias Harris. And I think that is phenomenal. And I think from a leadership standpoint, that's huge. You hear about what he has done over the last year or so when it comes to, being that leader off the court. Not just when I'm talking about basketball, I'm not talking about just on the floor. I'm talking about off the court and taking a stand for what's happening in this country and being more of that vocal guy. He has definitely transitioned into that role. And Doc Rivers coming here, that's clearly his comfort zone. And I'm cool with that. Doc Rivers, for some reason, there's a connection and a relationship between those two where he just knows that guy. He figured out exactly what Tobias Harris needs. He seems to be the only one to crack the code like this. But hey, I'm here for it. And if this is what you get out of Tobias Harris, you're talking about a different type of team that has a player that can be someone that you can rely on in crucial moments. That shot, though, now you're looking at Tobias Harris a little differently. I still need to see more out of the guy because so far for me, in crunch big-time shots this season, he's 1 for 2. The other play, he steps out of bounds. So this is great. If he can build off this, then okay. We talk about this team being scary. I love how Doc Rivers played this down entering the matchup. Oh, this isn't really a test game. Just another regular season game. My ass, Doc. We could see it. We could see it based off of the minutes and how you structured out the game. Tyrese Maxey, 6 minutes, giving your starters significantly more run, putting players in certain areas. I mean, you knew exactly what you were doing. You were testing your team to see how they would battle with the league's best. And guess what? The Sixers controlled the whole game. Even though that 4-minute stretch got ugly and he was pissed off, he was mad at Ben Simmons. You could see he was frustrated. He said, yo, what were those last 7 possessions? You're wasting those possessions. He didn't like it. And that was a statement towards Ben Simmons. Even though that fourth quarter down the stretch was ugly, and there was run in the second quarter when Joel Embiid was on the bench, that wasn't very smooth. Good teams are going to make runs. I didn't like the run. I didn't like the intensity of the Lakers' run when it mattered most. That has to be cleaned up. But you're not going to stop a squad like the Lakers from making an impactful run. That's how this game works. Once you start playing teams that have a ton of talent and that can go win a championship, you're not going to stop them from putting together something like an 18-4 run. They have the ability to do that as well. That's why we look at them the way that we do when we talk about what team can make a serious run. Once again, I thought it got too close. And that has to change. That has to be addressed. Apparently, Tim Legler was breaking down the game and breaking down some of the crunch moments for the Sixers so far this season and has put out on display that there are flaws in those moments. And that's not rocket science, but it's a common theme to this point. They pulled it out, so you do need to give them a full acknowledgement here. They pulled it out. But if there's this common theme of issues late, well, guess what? When it comes down to playoffs, you might not be able to dig yourself out of those holes. It can totally change a full-on series. It could totally change a battle and an adjustment. So just put that in the back of your head. You know, I'm surprised. A lot of people brought up the fact that, well, remember, they beat the Bucks last year on Christmas Day, and that didn't mean much. I was kind of surprised to hear that because I feel I'm giving this regular season win a lot of recognition. I think there's a tremendous amount of value here because of how it played out. That game against the Bucks, why did you win that game? Because you shot an unbeatable percentage from 3. Something that really isn't your identity, but that's what it took on that night to beat the Bucks on Christmas. This game, it wasn't like you had that outlier. You didn't have that one thing that happened where you go, you know, that's not really who this team is, but it helped you win. Nah, this is kind of what you have. You have a Joel Embiid that's going to give you close to 30 points. You have Tobias, who has been flat out insanely efficient this season. Finished 10 of 16 from the field. And I mentioned it post-game. The catch and shoot game in transition is money in the bank for Tobias Harris right now. Ben Simmons, now you don't get this Ben Simmons every night. You get it once in a blue moon, which is the frustrating thing. But Ben Simmons, this is a capable Ben Simmons. It just depends if he's willing to do it when it matters. There's a bit of me that recognizes when he goes up against LeBron, he brings that extra swagger. Why does it take LeBron James for him to do that? I don't know. It's his buddy. They work out together. They obviously have a close relationship. So he's trying to prove to LeBron, I'm a player, that I have that game, that I can take you to the rim. So then when they're hanging out in the summer in LA, there's a bit of some bragging rights going on. It takes something for Ben Simmons to do it. He doesn't have it internally built. It's almost as if when the frustration boils from the fan base, it creates this dark cloud around Ben, and then eventually it storms, and that's when Ben Simmons goes on this rapid, just fantastic run. But it takes something. It takes an amount of frustration boiled up, and he hears it, and then he goes out and attacks. Or it takes going up against a superstar, and then he's willing to go downhill. I hate that it does this. I realize I hate that it does this. This is how every season goes. That version of the 76ers, though, that's a winning formula. But that's what you need. You need about 30 from Embiid. You need 17, 11, and 10 from Ben Simmons. You need 20 plus from Tobias Harris. And you need one of Seth Curry or Danny Green to have one of their great shooting nights. And you have two chances. That's the beautiful thing. You have two chances. It doesn't need to be both. If it's both, well then, good night, Jim Kite. You're coming out with an easy victory. But realistically, you have one of two shots for one of your three-point specialists to step up and drill a bunch of threes. And then you can seriously compete. This team has exceeded my expectations, and I'm fully aware of that. And I'll admit it, yeah, I didn't think that they would look this good. But it all starts with the big man and how much of a step he really took with the mentality of the game. Now, I would be shocked if he ends up playing with that back problem in the next game. I think they play the Minnesota Timberwolves, so it's not this highly anticipated matchup. I'd imagine you're going to see some rest time for him, and at this point, I'm okay with that. I'm absolutely satisfied with the effort he's been giving us, and I realize that fall was no joke. That's a big man with a lot of weight falling down on the ground. That thud that you heard during the replay, they played it with the audio, and they said, let's hear what it sounds like, and they let it play, and then they were like, let's not hear that again. Yeah, you doofus, you shouldn't have played it the first time, you donkey. Anyone could have told you that would have been a loud-ass noise that you didn't want to hear. By the way, we are broadcasting live from the Manscaped Man Cave. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code BROD at manscaped.com. I definitely wanted to play more of these anytime hotline calls from the reaction last night. The phone number, if you ever want to call in, is 856-442-9805. All right, here we go.
Brodes, I'm so excited about the win, but I am absolutely pissed at the way that game ended. Up 14 with 4 minutes left, and you practically need a buzzer beater to win? Hell no. The Lakers are fighting to get back in that game, and the Sixers were just holding on. You got to match their energy. That ending was unacceptable, but I absolutely love the win. Go Sixers.
I think that's reasonable. I honestly feel that majority of people are somewhat, I'm not saying throwing away what happened later in the game, but I don't think that it's being discussed enough. That was very bad. That was very awful. And it is a common problem that we see with this team. Now, the difference is they allow squads to make their run and to make it closer, but this year they hold them off. They do. Before, it would be they allow teams to come back and then the Sixers lose. This year, they're allowing the teams to come back and then the Sixers win. They do need to find a way to shut the door and put the foot on the gas so much that this scenario never plays out this way. When you're up double digits and Joel Embiid makes a really tough bucket and he does his little shimmy, I guess it's really a hump. When he's on the ground and he's humping the ground or he's humping the air. When he does that, you know, if you're going to taunt around and have some fun, you better finish the job off smoother than what you did. And I thought defensively, it got a little weak. I praised their defense throughout 99% of that game because I really thought that was a stamp they put on the Lakers. Like, they made it known, we're going to play you tough. We're going to battle. You're going to have to earn so many points tonight. We're going to go to war. We're going to make this hell for you. The defense as a team was stellar. But you gave up a bit towards the end. You allowed them to get some looks from three. You got to close out. You got to be stronger. You got to be more willing. You got to compete harder. I did hear an interesting take, though. That one Caruso three, there was a weird rebound involved, and the ball was getting poked around, and it ended up going to Caruso. you could say the basketball gods. You could say a little bit of luck. If 9 out of 10 times that rebound just goes to the Sixers and then they run the rest of the clock or they get fouled or, they have possession at least and they have the ball, well, then that late run never really happens. Now, guess what? It doesn't matter if this happened, if that happened. Reality is the outcome happened. So you could say if that, if this, if that, if this, all you want. Reality of the situation is that this outcome could happen in a playoff game and the Lakers could come back and win, and you don't sit there afterwards and go, well, 8 out of 10 times the ball would have landed in your hands. Well, no, it doesn't matter. It doesn't say that in the series lead. If the Lakers lead the series 2-1, it doesn't say in parentheses, but there was an awkward rebound. You think that shot that Ray Allen hit for the Miami Heat, there's a little asterisk next to the Miami Heat victory? Absolutely not. So I thought it was interesting that someone put that in perspective, but I don't give a damn. Me personally, I don't give a damn. Some might. Some might look at this as more of a fluke rebound for Caruso that even allowed the Lakers to gain some momentum, but I don't. All basketball games have their own identity. It has its own voice, if you will. And on any given night, you could have a crazy moment. That's why we love the end of basketball games. That's why we love the final 2 minutes. Because anything can happen, and it's absurd. It's the power of sports, damn it. All right, what's next?
Are you hyped? Because I sure as hell am. What a game. Just purely entertainment in general. Sixers came out with a clutch sub to Tobias Harris. I feel like I was the only person that still believed in him. He can be a very successful player if he is used in the right way. Joel Embiid, about his back. It seemed like he was in pain. He could have done a little bit more late game. I feel like he had some missed shots and some turnovers that cost us. Ben Simmons continuing to be aggressive. I'd love to see that if only he could do that every game. Steph Curry's starting to piss me off, though.
With Ben Simmons being aggressive, I just feel that's such a statement to the rest of the team. When he plays that way, the squad has extra juice. When you watch your guy, who clearly struggles in that area, saying to himself, yep, this is my game. Yup, I'm going to attack LeBron. Yes, AD, you're a bum, and I'm coming for you. Everyone gets juvenized, right? Everyone has that swagger. Everyone's nodding their head, and they're getting going on the sidelines because your leader, one of your leaders, I should say, is bringing it. And it's such a knock on his game when he's shutting up the haters. And I'm going to use some air quotes there because I don't think he shuts up the haters enough. But internally, I'm sure Ben Simmons has that mentality that that's what he's doing. When that occurs, the team feeds off that. There are certain players that when they play a certain way, everyone vibes off of it. So Ben needs to recognize that it's more than just about him playing a certain way. It changes how the whole team plays emotionally. Now, this was brought up on the Sports Bash today. If Ben gives you 17, 11, and 10, you're satisfied. And I said, yes. I was asked the question specifically. Am I satisfied with 17, 11, and 10? Absolutely. Now, what if he gave you 13, 14, and 10? As if he gives you less points, he gives you more assists, so those assists are becoming points elsewhere, and you're essentially getting the same scoring. And I understand the mindset of that question, but there still is a problem there. Because there's times when Ben has a matchup that he should easily get to, without a doubt, get to. But instead, he's so pass happy that it results in a turnover. Or it results in a shot that isn't as good looking as Ben targeting his one-on-one matchup. Look, I stressed it when Tobias was going up against Caruso. It's basketball 101. Taller forward on a smaller guard, go score. Go attack the basket. Go get into your spot on the floor that makes you feel comfortable. With Ben, he'll pass that up to have a way worse look because he's unwilling to attack matchups that he should be able to dominate. So while he might get more assists, which leads to the same amount of points or the same amount of points produced as a team, he passes up scoring opportunities because he's so pass happy where he could still get those points with those 14 assists if he was just willing to look at the basket. He doesn't even look at the basket for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-minute stretches. So to me, it's not the same. And you need to keep defenses honest. There's times where players pick his routes. When they see Ben coming down full speed and they know someone's in the corner, they cheat. They get their hands on the ball, whether it goes out of bounds and it slows the pace down, or they pickpocket the ball and they push the other way, they press the other way. That happens too. Now, specifically in the game against the Lakers, 1 turnover for Ben. And the turnover game has been a problem for him so far this season. And apparently there's some reports about how hard Sam Cassell is on Ben Simmons right now, to the point where they are making it a very, very big part of what he needs to focus on night in and night out. And, I mean, it's big. It limits the other team from getting fast break points, getting easy buckets, scoring in transition, getting easy dunks, right? I mean, you're keeping the ball in your hands. You're keeping the pace the way you want to make the game. You are creating the identity of the game when you don't turn the ball over. And I thought that really defined this game. While there were some runs by the Lakers, the Sixers, they were in control of that game. It was their pace that they wanted to play. They dictated the game. And that's something that really matters to me.
Oh, no, Brodes. Not going to let you get away with this one. The other night when Ben Simmons was playing against the Celtics, I need to see more. Now that they come away with a win with the Lakers, you want to be excited because they had a triple-double? Nah, Brodes. You don't get to pick and choose when you get to love Ben Simmons or hate Ben Simmons. I hope I get to talk to you about it some other time. Thank you for listening.
Look, thank you so much for making the call. Yeah, look, I appreciate anyone calling in and want to attack me. That's fine. Here's my argument back. It shouldn't really be that hard to figure this thing out. Ben Simmons can play this way. I expect him to play this way. He is capable of doing this on a nightly basis. So when he does it, I admire the skill set. I appreciate it. This is what I demand of him. So when he does this, I'm fully aware this is fantastic. I love this version of Ben Simmons. I will absolutely give him a standing ovation when he performs this way, because this is the Ben Simmons that I would never trade. This is the Ben Simmons that elevates this team to more of a championship squad. You need this version to get that Larry O'Brien, and it's in him. It is. So why am I so mad and disgusted in Ben when he plays the way that he does throughout the regular season and other games to this point? Because it's not this, and he can do this. So when he does this, I'll choose to be satisfied. When he doesn't play this way, I can choose to not be satisfied. I don't get it. I don't get when he underachieves while you can just say that that's fine. That sits in your stomach perfectly okay. That makes me sick. That makes me want to throw up. That's garbage. Joel Embiid is Joel Embiid to this point. Who's the X factor? Tobias seems pretty damn consistent right now. So once again, let's date this back to what I was saying earlier. You know what you're getting out of Embiid on a nightly basis. To this point, you somewhat know what you're getting out of Tobias Harris. When it comes to the two shooters, one of the two most likely is going to have a night. Who's the X factor here? If Ben plays this way, you can beat the Lakers. If Ben plays another way, like he does against the Pistons, like he does when he has 5 personal fouls, 3 in 7 minutes, when he plays wild, all over the place, out of control, you don't beat the Lakers. So I think it's totally okay to choose to love Ben when he does this. Because this is how good he is, and this is what he should be doing. When he doesn't, I can choose to destroy him because he's underachieving and he's not playing well enough. You're probably the same person, and I could be wrong, and if I am, fine, I'll I'll admit them wrong. But the same person, and let's not even, I won't even specifically say it towards you. But the people out there that are okay with Ben not playing the way that he did against the Lakers are probably the same that demand Carson Wentz to be benched because he's not playing well and he's unhappy. Like, you're probably unhappy with Carson Wentz. You're frustrated with him. You know that he can be elite, but he's not playing at that MVP level, so you want him out of town or you don't like him. Once again, I'm not saying specifically the caller. I washed that out. I'm giving more of a general conversation now and pointing out the general Ben Simmons lovers that are now okay with him not playing to this level. That doesn't connect with me. That doesn't fly with me. You're allowed to be irritated with the nights that he takes off because that happens more times than the nights that he performs like a lethal talent that he is. Can be. Big difference. Can be. And the problem for me is when he plays that way, I see this as a team that can win a championship. When he doesn't play this way, good luck. And isn't the ultimate goal winning that championship? The answer is yes.
Yo, what's up, bro? Say, we got the win. We beat the Lakers. I'm happy about that. It was good seeing Ben back to all-star level Ben. I don't think he was like 100% in the beginning of the season, and I think he's getting back healthy. That's why the explosiveness wasn't there, so that was good. I know you're going to be upset about them giving up that 14-point lead with 4 minutes to go, but I think that was more about them letting the foot off the gas and them thinking the game was over. That's immaturity. Doc will take care of that. I don't think it was more so the Lakers are that great. I think it was more so we let them back in it. All right. Hey, 76ers for life. Win or lose, bro.
Hey, thank you so much for the call. I think the Lakers had a little bit more to do with it than you're giving credit, but I think it's fine to say the Sixers let off the gas because they got too comfortable, and that's why after Anthony Davis made that play to take the lead off that screen and he cut to the basket, LeBron with a beautiful bounce pass with perfection right into the breadbasket as he was running towards the rim. I almost thought that it would be, I know it's crazy, really. I do know it's crazy. It would be more beneficial for this team to lose in that scenario. So when it's the playoffs and when you're up double digits in the fourth quarter, everyone dates back to this loss. The stress, the film study, and the amount of times you go over what happened and you talk about the flaws and you make sure that it never happens again. That is so important. And I just wonder if winning this games make them feel so much more comfortable about it that they don't make it as much of a focus point as they probably should if they were to lose. Now, ultimately, I wanted the team to win. Let's not confuse what I'm saying here or jumble my words around. I just thought in terms of you learn more from losing than you do winning. And I know that's very cliche, but seeing how this team is adapting and somewhat becoming and growing and grooming into more of a NBA championship in the conversation team, I just thought that could be very valuable. I guess I can flip it around and say, knowing you lost the lead, knowing you allowed the Lakers to come back, you made the shot. You learned how to close. You learned how to execute a play when needed, when all the momentum was on the other side. So I can't discredit that either. I wanted the Sixers to win. And I thought Tobias put the team on his back. And he was wearing this leather jacket afterward. You know what that jacket screamed? I made the last bucket. You can't pull that off if you fell and it fell short. Or if you had a tough day at the office and shot 6 of 18. No. That doesn't fly. You hit the game winner, though? Yeah, you can rock that leather jacket. The caller made a great point, though, about Ben's explosiveness. He did have an injury, and he had that knee problem. And now he's somewhat looking a little bit stronger and willing to rise and hit the paint and go downhill. Is there a correlation there? Maybe. I think it's more of he chooses and picks when he wants to do it or not, more so than the knee. And I'm basing that off of a 4-year window sample size. Because I've seen him be healthy and choose when he wants to and choose when he doesn't want to. So I don't know if it's necessarily the knee, but maybe there was some discomfort involved that stopped him from doing it more than we would have seen to this point. All right, how about my friends over at DraftKings before we continue? They have this tremendous offer available. Pigskin fans, the moment you have been waiting for all season is right around the corner. DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of Super Bowl 55, is bringing back their golden ticket giveaway with up to $55 million in prizes up for grabs. All you have to do to get your share of these huge prizes is enter DraftKings' free Super Bowl prediction challenge. Once you submit your picks, you will get a free instant prize up to $25,000. The top prize is $1 million. DraftKings has paid out over $7 billion to its players since 2012. Download the DraftKings app now and use promo code Brodes to enter the free $55 million Super Bowl prediction challenge. Everyone gets an instant prize up to $25,000 just for playing. So use promo code Brodes now and enter the free $55 million Super Bowl challenge only at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of Super Bowl 55. Terms, conditions, and eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details. All right, what else are we hearing from the people out there?
Hey, Brodes. Big fan, been watching for a while. That Lakers game was something special, very entertaining, but those specific last, 19 seconds had me super worried. Had no idea if Tobias was going to make that or not, but luckily he did. And just seeing the whole bench kind of like light up with him, it's just something nice to see. And it was something that I was really worried about in the beginning. You know, when Daryl Morey was making all these trades, I mean, on paper it looked great, but without team chemistry, you lose, a side of what you could have as an advantage in the game. But somehow, even in these crazy circumstances where you barely get to introduce yourself to one another, the team chemistry just looks so strong on this team. Whether it's, leadership roles or just having fun playing with each other. And it's something that I like to see and hope that it's going to, make more entertaining games in the future.
I agree completely. I think that's a fantastic way of looking at it. Last year, Josh Richardson, Al Horford, the team didn't mesh. The team didn't gel. I don't think Al Horford was happy in his role. He didn't like playing next to Joel Embiid. There was no cohesiveness. They didn't really mold and bond and have this relationship where they thoroughly enjoyed playing basketball. I've been on plenty of teams in my life where when you went to the locker room and you were on the ice for practice, you had a blast with your teammates, right? I mean, it was the greatest hockey. It was fun. It was super entertaining. The boys loved one another. It was just a great atmosphere, and that resulted in great play. You went to war with one another. You would stick up for one another. I also had some really ugly locker rooms where half the team liked each other, the other half didn't. It was very cliquey. The coach was an asshole. No one bonded with the coach. You weren't on the same page. When the passes weren't tape to tape, you were mother effing each other on the bench during practice. So, and that also played a role in how you played that season. Those seasons where we didn't vibe and we didn't get along, we were failing, all right? We were in the bottom of the division. But those teams where everything was smooth and you loved one another, we were making playoff runs. So I think that's a big part of having success. Everyone's having fun. Everyone's loving one another. Everyone's happy with their role. Everyone's getting significant touches, and they're winning basketball games on top of that as well. And then it makes the environment better. And I think it's just something that occurs when you get a professional voice involved. Everyone they hired is a true pro's pro. It starts with Daryl Morey. It starts with Joshua Harris and David Blitzer taking a step to the side, getting in Daryl Morey, getting in Doc Rivers, getting in Dave Yeager, getting in Sam Cassell, getting in Burke, getting in everyone. Popeye Jones, this entire staff as a whole changed the sense of urgency and changed the focus level. The entire franchise had a makeover, a real NBA makeover. And it has clearly affected what we're seeing on the court. It's so entertaining. That game last night, that was big for me. There's a lot of people that get frustrated on how long it takes me to really dive into something, how long it takes for me to commit to saying this team is blank or this team is X. I'm not fully there yet because I've seen great wins in past years in regular season, and that doesn't necessarily relate. So I'm not jumping on that ride right now in terms of saying, like, this team is 100% it. But I thought that was a statement. I thought that was a big, nice statement to the league. It's a good win, beating that Lakers team. You could tell how pissed off LeBron was. He wanted that victory. You could tell how engaged he was late. He wasn't giving up. He was continuing to compete. Now, he was bitching and moaning the whole way through, and it looked like he was working those refs. And the fact that he still does it. I even tweeted out today, I had a random thought when driving home from the radio station. This guy, LeBron James, he better play until he's 65, because I need to see him forever.
Hey, what's up, Brodes? Yeah, man, it definitely was a good win, but a sloppy ending. And it's crazy because I said if Ben Simmons doesn't have 18 or more, we might lose. And he had 17 and we lost and we won by 1. But I was calling to say, man, I gained a lot of respect for Embiid, just watching him mature and get rid of the antics and get right down to basketball. I never knew how hard his job was until I watched this game. Like, I don't know what big man can survive having to deal with AD, Montrezl Harrell, and Marc Gasol, and LeBron throwing you out the air to the ground. I got a lot of respect for him, man, for what he has to deal with. Now, I know he probably scored this morning and he might miss the next game. But, man, I gained a lot of respect for that dude.
Yeah, Joel Embiid was magnificent in terms of getting up, battling through that injury, and continuing to play. I would imagine we're probably not going to see him, and they're going to rest him up. And I think this is one of those that, as a fan base, we're not going to be pissed off. We're not going to be disgusted. We're going to be okay with that just based off of the circumstances, and we'll happily take a rested Joel Embiid after what he's been put through. Yeah, look, there's a lot of guys on the other side, and I thought the way that they utilized AD on the defensive end, maybe they tried to put him on a different matchup and all, but every single night he's going to have to go through a serious challenge, night in and night out, whether they bring the double. I'm not saying one-on-one, but I'm saying on how teams are going to have to game plan for him. He's going to have to work through double teams. He's going to have to work through a lot. They're not going to make it easy for him. They're going to show you a ton of different sets and a ton of different spaces. Like, they're going to bring double teams. Not going to be the same double team every time. They're going to bring them from different angles. They're going to trap you in the corner. They're going to take away your comfort zone on once they recognize, hey, he continues to pass it out here, they're going to take away that lane, and you're going to have to find a way to adjust. So night in and night out, Joel Embiid is going to have to continue to put up with the other team's best game plan against him, and it's not going to be easy. It might look easy, and it might look awesome because of how great Joel Embiid is, and you mentioned the word maturity. Yeah, that's the best way to describe it. He is becoming a mature professional, and hey, Brodes, you were right. Players do that at a certain age. Oh, stop. I'm flattered. I'm flattered for you to recognize that when players reach a certain age based off of physical maturity and mental maturity, that's when players truly take that step that we all talk about. Stop, please. Don't give me enough credit now. No. You can't do that. No, that would be silly. That would be nonsense because I'm a moron, because I'm an idiot. Isn't that normally how it goes? Maturity is an awesome way to put it. And look, LeBron, Ben Simmons playing defense, LeBron, other guys like Ben Simmons, the versatility defensively. Whoo! Woo-hoo-hoo! And there are some that say, well, you don't give that enough credit. You're only focused on the offensive side. Nope, no, I'm not. This game here, he was great defensively and he was great offensively. Stop acting as if it can only be one of the two. It can be both. Great players play great on both sides of the floor. LeBron at this point, you got to give him some leeway. He's getting up there in age and still playing this smart. He might not be the same defender as he was years ago, but Ben Simmons is 24. LeBron's in the upper 30s. Two different scenarios. My point is, if you're a star, you bring it on both sides of the damn floor regardless, and you perform on both sides of the floor regardless. So that's no excuse that, oh, well, you see what he does defensively. That's not getting enough love. Sure it is. I demand both sides, and that's not being irrational. That's what great players do in this league. And Ben is absolutely 100% capable of doing it. I'm not asking TJ McConnell to do this. I'm not asking Dario Saric to do this. I'm asking Ben fucking Simmons. So please, stop with that.
You know, like whenever you play the Lakers and the officiating, I'll just tell you this, bros. I watch every single game just like you do. And the officiating in that game was completely different. Absolutely 100% different. I don't think that's right. I don't think it's good. It works against the NBA. It's not a good thing. That was a joke. And I know you're a big LeBron fan. Not buying it, man. That was terrible. Not even the way it should be.
I'm a little confused. Are you saying the game was officiated a different way because of LeBron? I think that's just NBA stars. Joel Embiid got to the free throw line against the Boston Celtics the other game 21 times. The Celtics had 20 free throws. The Sixers had 45 as a team. You're telling me Joel Embiid didn't get the Joel Embiid treatment? Kevin Durant gets the Kevin Durant treatment. Steph Curry gets the Steph Curry treatment. I really don't see the connection here. I see the NBA being the NBA. Stars get the benefit of the doubt. So the resurface. Was this game officiated different because of LeBron James? I guess the answer is yes. But the counter is, welcome to the NBA. This is how all the stars go. This is how it goes. You get the benefit of the doubt. LeBron James gets calls. Joel Embiid gets a lot of calls. The swinging the hands and down low posting his body. You just don't point it out as much because, well, you like Joel Embiid. And you're excited when he gets to the foul throw line. And look, it's warranted for sure. Because you play your offense down low. Not a lot of teams do that. So, yeah, getting to the free throw line makes sense in theory. You don't think that there's a lot of phantom calls involved for Joel Embiid? Sure, no doubt. It's 100% truth. It's facts. The NBA game last night, you know what it was? It's the NBA being the NBA. I know, it's not the product we all want. They're bad at their job. That's what it is. They're just bad at their job. No one's a good NBA ref. But I don't think that's any different from any other NBA game I've watched. We say this about every game, don't we? Jeez, that call sucks. Wow, this ref blows. Was LeBron working the refs? Yes. Did I love it? No. Was that the difference in the game? No. I don't think the refs were the difference in the game. What do we keep talking about? We keep talking about that stretch by the Lakers late and Tobias Harris hitting the shot. I didn't have, in terms of the outcome of the game, I don't think the referees were enemy number one here. I thought that's just standard NBA stuff. So how about this? Orbit Energy and Power, they're my great friends, and they have provided so much for my home now that I'm a new homeowner. With over 20 years of experience in the solar industry, they are home to your experts in residential and commercial. Their solar program eliminates your electric bill completely. They offer flexible financing solutions such as $0 down. They provide water purification systems, backup energy services, battery storage, and more. So check out their information down below. Thank you guys so much for listening, and I will see you next time.